alveolar and capillary membrane. As we have discussed earlier, the oxygenated blood, the oxygen from the alveolus is transported to the capillaries. And now the space between alveoli and the capillary is called the alveolar capillary membrane, which is a very thin barrier between the alveolus and the capillary. That means between the air and the blood. The thickness is hardly 0.3 to 1 micrometer. That makes it a very thin layer that is lying between alveolus and the capillaries. Due to this thin barrier, it helps in rapid gaseous exchange, less than a fraction of seconds. And this is also known as the respiratory membrane. So until now, we have understood the importance of cardiovascular system and also the respiratory system. So now let's explore the importance of circulation and what is circulation and what are the mechanisms involved for the circulation to happen in a proper way. So what is circulation? Circulation is the delivery of oxygenated blood from the heart to the entire body, and also removal of waste from the body back to the heart and lungs. So how does this happen? Heart pumps oxygenated and deoxygenated blood through different pathways, separate pathways, the left and the right, so that they don't get combined. And based on this, it can be divided into systemic and pulmonary circulation. Now, what is systemic circulation? Basically, it is the supply of oxygen-rich blood to organs and tissue. Now, let's understand the pathway. So, the oxygenated blood reaches the left atrium via the pulmonary veins from the lungs. So once the atrium is filled with oxygenated blood, the atrium contracts. When it contracts, the mitral valve opens up and the blood flows into the left ventricle. So when the contraction of atrium happens, there is relaxation of ventricle, which is also known as systole and diastolic, which is contractions and relaxation. And when the ventricle, the left ventricle contracts, the blood flows into the aorta, which is a major branch coming from the heart that supplies blood to different parts of the body. Now, this aorta is divided into arteries, several arteries that supply blood to various organs and tissues. As we can see here, the red, the red here indicates oxygenated blood. So if you can see, this is the aorta, and there is one artery which is going to the brain, and there are several arteries which are going into different organs and tissues. So the supply of oxygen-rich blood to organs and tissues is known as the systemic circulation. Now, what is pulmonary circulation? It's just the opposite. It is collection of the deoxygenated blood from the organs to the heart and from the heart to the lungs. Now, how does this happen? The deoxygenated blood, whatever is collected from the entire body, goes into the right atrium via the superior and inferior vena cavas, as you can see here, which are the major veins that end in the heart. So once the right atrium is filled with deoxygenated blood, the right atrium contracts and the tricuspid valve opens, which lets the blood to flow into the right ventricle. And once the right ventricle is filled with the deoxygenated blood, the ventricle contracts, letting the deoxygenated blood to pass into the pulmonary arteries and from there to lungs, and from lungs the CO2 is eliminated outside the body. So the gaseous exchanges occur in lungs. Oxygenated blood returns via pulmonary veins. So this is a circle. Once there's after the lungs receive deoxygenated blood and the CO2 is eliminated, this oxygenated blood returns via pulmonary veins into the left atrium. So this goes in a systemic or rhythmic pattern so that a body is in a homeostatic stage. Now to summarize, the air travels from the nose to the alveoli and the gaseous exchanges happen between alveoli and the capillaries where the oxygenated and deoxygenated bloods are exchanged. Then we have discussed about the structure and different parts of the respiratory system, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, and the structure of lungs. We have also discussed about visceral pleura, parietal pleura, pleural cavity, and pleural fluid, and the importance of alveolar membrane through which gaseous exchange happens between capillary membranes and alveolus. And then we understood what is circulatory system where oxygenated blood is circulatory system where oxygenated blood is supplied to the body, which is also known as systemic circulation, and CO2 is removed from the body, which is known as the pulmonary circulation. So with this, we understand that respiration is vital for maintaining body function. And the same is what is incorporated into yoga as a pranayama techniques where we are concentrating on the improval of lung capacity. Now, what is lung capacity? When we are improving the lung capacity, we are inhaling more oxygenated blood. So our body, there is a rush of oxygen blood to all the organs of the body when you are proper in your pranayama techniques. That helps removal of metabolic waste. That is why we tell during pranayama technique, we are trying to eliminate metabolic waste because the improval of oxygen supply to the body also helps in removal of deoxygenated blood from the body into the environment. So understanding the Western medicine as of what we have discussed now, the science behind the respiratory system helps us improve the pranayama techniques and makes us easy to understand to our clients or the students to understand the importance of pranayama in a more scientific and productive way. This helps them create more knowledge, which pulls them towards pranayama with a lot of interest. So I hope you understood today's class and thank you.